welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I wanted to talk to you about the books that I plan to read in December. My actual official TBR is incredibly short. Part of that is because I just have a lot of long books that I'm reading. Part of that is that I like to leave December a bit more open because it tends to be a really busy month. And part of it is also that I don't have a group read for my in-person book club or my Patreon this month. And so as a result, the books that I am definitely going to read are quite small. Kicking off with a book that I will finish in December that I've been working on for months, and that's Kristin Lavransdatter by Sigrid Undset. I'm really enjoying this book. So this actually is huge on its own like this, but it's split into 3 books that are together in Kristin Lavransdatter. So I read book 1 in October, book 2 in November, and book 3 will be in December. I'm reading this with Dia, and I'm really excited to finish this bad boy up and see how it ends. Another very large book that I'm going to be reading in December is David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I love this really pretty edition that I found at an antique mall. But anyways, this is a reread for me. I read David Copperfield when I was in high school or when I was in college, can't remember which, but I did read it when I was younger, but I haven't really read it at all for the past like 15, maybe 20 years. Like it depends when I actually read it. But anyways, it's been a long time since I've read it, so I'm really looking forward to rereading it. Every year I try to read a new Dickens and reread a Dickens that I have read before. So this is this year's reread, although I also reread Oliver Twist this year, but that was with my daughter for school, so that feels different, feels separate. So anyways, David Copperfield, I'm reading this with my sister and I'm really excited. The other really big book that I will be reading in the month of December, I don't know if I'll finish it in December. It's just gonna depend, but that's Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 5 in the Stormlight Archive. I am super excited that the first arc will be completed. I have spent quite a bit of time reading Sanderson this year and last year, and I think both years he'll probably this year as well, I would assume, has been like my most read author. And to be totally transparent, I am a bit Sandersoned out, but I really want to read Wind and Truth. That feels different from Mistborn, so I'll be happy to read that, but it is really long. I can't remember how many pages, but I know that there was talk of him kind of breaking the boundaries of binding books. So I know that it's quite long. So I don't know if I'll finish it in December, and I'm okay with finishing it in January. The last book that I'll definitely be reading in December, I told you, this is a really short official TBR, is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I'll actually be reading this for my British literature class. It's the book that we're doing in the month of December. Feels like the perfect time to do A Christmas Carol. I'll probably start this at the end of November actually, but I'm sure that I won't finish it by the end of November because I have so many other books that I'm trying to finish by the end of November. But yeah, I'll be reading A Christmas Carol. That's my official TBR. So it has a lot of longer books on it. So I have some other books that I might like to squeeze in here or there, just depending on what time frame I end up having. But this is like very loosey-goosey. So I might work a little bit on my Reader Road project because I've been doing horrifically at that. You might notice that I've stopped even including those books in most of my TBRs because I've kind of given up, and that's okay. I've actually gotten rid of a lot of them, even ones that I didn't really pick up or I only read a little bit of, but there's a few that I might like to dip my toe into. In previous years, I've done reading vlogs where I try a chapter to see if I want to keep them or not. Maybe I'll do that again, I'm not sure. And then on my classics TBR, I have 2 books I didn't finish. One of them I've mentioned semi-recently, and that's Moby Dick. I talked about that in my books I've DNF'd this year video. So if you watch that video, you'll know that that is a soft DNF, one that I hope to come back to. Just didn't have the brain space to devote to it. But the other book that I haven't finished is one that I read for October, and that's The Food of the Gods by H.G. Wells, which I picked up because of this really crazy cover. And I was really excited to read it, and it kind of like was fizzling out for me a little bit, and I had a lot of other responsibilities, so I kind of like put it on the back burner. I'm 3/4 of the way through it. I'd love to finish it by the end of the year. Could I just DNF it? Sure, I could, but because it's on my classics for the year TBR, I kind of don't want to, and I wasn't hating it. it just kind of, I really liked it in the beginning and then it was just kind of fizzling out for me. So we'll see, but this is higher up on my priority list in terms of other books I'd like to get to. This fall, I really enjoyed reading seasonally. In fact, I actually did a vlog where I read some of the fall recommendations that you gave me, and that was really, really fun. So I had asked, I think in that video, for some winter recommendations, and I want to save a lot of the like wintry books for probably January or February, but I did have one person suggest Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. This is a really short little book. I don't know much of what it's about, but I've heard amazing things about Claire Keegan's book Foster, and so she's already been on my radar, but I haven't heard as many people talk about Small Things Like These. It's probably also as well loved, but I feel like it would be easy to squeeze this in. The person who recommended it to me told me that it takes place in a Christmas time setting, so that feels like a really good December read. I'm not very good at reading new releases or newer books in general, I think, and I would like to squeeze in a book or two maybe that is newer. I guess Small Things Like These might be a newer book. I don't remember what year that was published, but my older sister got this book and she brought it when she came to visit, so that way I could borrow it, and that's The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. So I really loved The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I haven't read his other book, The Devil in the Dark Water. I've heard mixed things about this book. I've heard some people say it's like one of their favorites. I've heard some people say that they really didn't like it, but I was talking to my sister and she said she had like watched or read an interview with him, and he talked about how he wanted with each book that he wrote to do like something very, very different. So I think The Devil in the Dark Water was a bit more spooky, supernatural. 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle was like a mystery, and this is intended to be a sci-fi. And so I do think that that kind of could be problematic for people who are expecting a book similar to The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle or even The Devil in the Dark Water. So if you're expecting something similar, then it would probably be really disappointing. And since my older sister told me that, I can temper my expectations going in, but she really, really enjoyed it. I love this cover. I love that it's got the colored papers, edges, I guess sprayed edges, is that what you call that? Anyways, so this is one that would be fun and very different from everything else that I am reading in the month of December. Is it Christmassy? No, but it's a 2024 release, and I haven't read very many 2024 releases other than middle grade, so I would like to try to pick this up as well. And that's it. Those are my plans, and there's not very many of them. This is a really short video, so sorry about that. But I try to keep my options open in December because December can be really crazy and I never know exactly what it's going to bring. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are you planning on reading in December? Is December kind of like a catch-up month where you're trying to finish all the things before the end of the year? Do you tend to read Christmas or seasonal books during the month of December? Are there any readathons that you're participating in? I haven't even looked. I'm sure that there's so many really lovely, cozy, or Christmassy readathons that are happening in the month of December, but I know myself and I know my schedule in December, and I know I need to keep it light. Though this TBR is light in books, it is not light in page numbers, so there's that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.